101 ESPN.
Kyle McClellan is with us. Kyle, thanks for stopping by, man.
No problem. How you guys doing?
Are you enjoying this weather? This is cold, man.
Next week is supposed to be in the 70s, so it'll be a little warmer.
You're saying we picked the wrong week to be here?
Yes, we did. Yes, we did.
Well, you come into this. Tell us your game plan, because I know you were a starter. You had the elbow surgery. You moved to a reliever, and now you're in the running for that fifth starter position. How much do you change your approach? Your everything going into a spring training like that?
This spring training, and kind of like last spring training, you come in and the approach is I'm a starting pitcher and go until they tell me otherwise. I don't think you can come in and try to think, well, if I don't succeed at this, I can go do something else. I mean, my mindset is I'm coming in and they wanted me to prepare to start. There's a spot open this year, so I'm going to do everything I can to show that I can pitch in that spot.
We've talked to a few guys earlier in the week, and we wondered how much that sudden death of losing in the postseason the way you did, how much that carried over into your preparation in the off season.
For me, not a whole lot. I mean, it was short, and wish we could have gone longer. But at the end of the day, I don't look back at that series and think that we left a lot on the field. I mean, we just got beat, and so at the end of the day, if you can look at it and show that we weren't the better team that series, then I can live with that. So it wasn't something I thought about every day, trying to get revenge. It's just one of those things you come in prepared and learn from that, and this year hopefully go deeper.
Hey, I'm curious physically. I've talked to a lot of guys that have had Tommy John surgery, and a lot of them end up throwing harder than they did prior to the surgery. They just feel stronger. How was it for you? Did you have that same kind of sensation in your arm, like, hey, this is a little bit better than I was before?
Yeah, I came back throwing harder, and it's hard to determine because I came back in the bullpen, so it's kind of a different role. But it took me 22 months until I was 100%. And I remember going into it, Ankiel told me, you're going to be 24 months before you're 100%. And, they say you can throw at 8 to 10, 8 to 12 months. And you can throw, but you're not going to be 100% until that 2-year mark. And for me, that's what it was. And I always say everybody's different. But once I hit 24 months, as you could tell, my velocity started climbing, and you get a new elbow. I've been throwing since I was 4 years old, and it's just the wear and tear of it. They go in and put a new one in and tightens everything up. So, a lot of guys come back better.
So it's almost like that. What was that goofy baseball movie where the
rookie
where he got it? So you just asked him wind it up a little bit tighter.
do whatever you got to do. I told him, I said, I don't care if my hand's over my head. Just make sure I come back throwing harder.
Don't care what it looks like as long as the ball's coming out. Speaking with Kyle McClellan here with Burwell and Stelton on 101 ESPN. So. Physically, you said you prepare to be a starter. Now, how does that change your workouts and how you prepare physically as compared to being in the bullpen? Because I've spoken to John Smoltz about that transition, and he had talked about, as a reliever I do this, but if I'm going to be a starter, my whole game plan changes. How does it change for you?
For me, I cut 15 pounds. I was 225 at the end of the season last year. I'm 210 right now. A little more cardio this off season. My bullpen sessions are a little bit longer, throwing in intervals while I throw and sit down for about 5-10 minutes and then throw again and sit down. But as far as the weight training and all that, it's a lot of the same. It's a lot of legs, a lot of core, not too much upper body, just kind of toning up there. But, for the most part, it's just getting my weight down so that I can be, in the bullpen, you need to carry a little extra pounds so you can get through the season a little bit. But as a starter, you got to be a little bit lighter on your feet so you can go deeper in games.
Kyle McClellan, Cardinals pitcher, joining us here on Burwell and Stelton, live from Jupiter, Florida. When you get down here, because nowadays it's almost a 12-month deal for professional athletes. When you come down here, is there one particular thing that you're trying to work on, or I'm just kind of curious how this works for you guys when you show up at spring training?
Well, like I said, it's a 12-month thing. I mean, I took 2 weeks off and then got back at the weight training and started eating right again. I got down here 3 weeks ago, about 3.5 weeks ago, and for me it was get out of St. Louis where it's cold and you can throw indoors and throw on a wood mound and that, but to get down here and throw out in the elements and sweat a little bit out here while you're throwing and throwing the dirt mounds was big for me. So for me it was more of the pitching side of it, of getting on the mound and getting the feel for that. And then as far as the weight training, really, I hit it hard on the weights, and then when I get here, I kind of lighten up a little bit and get into more of the maintaining program. So it's a pretty good program we got set up, and it's nice to be able to get down. They opened the facility for us to come down and like I said, be able to run in warm weather, even though it's not warm right now. But
so you've been here for 3 weeks?
3.5, yeah. I left right after the winter warm-up.
Wow. And now, clearly, they don't have the full setup when you get down here because I guess they didn't bring did they bring all the weights and things down? Or
yeah, they keep it here during the year, so I could do all my weightlifting in there. And then Derek Lilliquist, I contacted him and told him I was coming down. He set up a catcher and everything, so he was here to watch me throw, and who I had in the minor leagues, and it worked out really good. It's very beneficial for me to get down and take advantage of it.
How many other guys were down here?
There was a couple guys. Jaime showed up about 2 weeks ago, and so there was probably about 3 or 4 of us.
Okay. Now, how much do you follow what's going on with the team in the offseason? The fans get really dialed in and invested in, is Holiday coming back? Are they going to sign him? Is he leaving? Brad Penny comes. They're really passionate about it. As a player, are you talking to these guys on the phone, or are you just kind of standing back and saying, all right, whatever happens, happens?
I kind of follow it on the internet, and I follow it during the offseason. I don't follow it during the season. I had probably some of the best advice, and no offense to you guys, but the best advice I ever got was don't pay attention to what people say about you, because you're not as good as they say you are, and you're not as bad as they say you are.
We only say nice things.
Yeah, I bet. So during the season, I make an effort to not pay attention to what's being said, and I go out and do my thing. And at the end of the year, I'm interested to see what moves we're making and who's going where. So I followed it pretty closely this offseason, and not only our team, but other teams in division and other teams, National League, American League, and I find it. I'm a fan of baseball too. I'm not just a player, and so I find it very interesting of who's going where and all that kind of stuff.
Kyle McClellan, he's been our guest here with Burwell and Stelton on 101 ESPN. A pleasure speaking with you, man. We appreciate you stopping by, and rooting for you, and hope for nothing but the best for you.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Thanks again. There he is, Kyle McClellan.